There was a theory going around for years that Dr. Brenner was Eleven's biological father. Now, there is a new theory that Henry is Eleven's biological father. I just read an article and it was lazy at best. The person who wrote the article probably read the wiki, but the wiki was thin on information, as wikis typically are. So the author of the article probably did not read the prequel book, and there is a definitive answer as to who Eleven's father is in that book, so let's do this. 11 refers to Dr. Brenner as Papa, but so do other subjects such as 5-year-old Subject 8 named Kali. Kali came from over the ocean, and it was explicitly stated that Brenner had no children at the time, so Kali is not his child. But Elle was conceived 4 months later, so technically she could be his child. Dr. Brenner found out that Terry was pregnant due to blood work that was done 1 month into her pregnancy, but Terry didn't find out until her 7th month. When Terry found out, Dr. Brenner referred to the fetus inside Terry as, quote, our child. He also told her that they had made it together. Those lines support the idea that Brenner had artificially inseminated her. There's also a clue in the show. Henry told Elle that Papa had begun a program to recreate him after Papa had determined that he could not control him. Henry said that soon others were born. So I can see why this theory exists, but there's a problem with this theory. 4 problems actually. First off, Terry entered the MK Ultra project in July, but she didn't become pregnant until November. So it raised the question, why would Dr. Brenner have waited 4 months to impregnate her? This one isn't a deal breaker, but the second issue is. When Dr. Brenner found out that Terry was pregnant, his response was very telling. She's pregnant, he said with genuine wonder. And this is why you didn't make hasty decisions like kicking someone out for showing the same spirit that had made them a good candidate for the experiment in the first place. Now, she might develop into a golden goose in more ways than one. Those were his thoughts. So Dr. Brenner was surprised to find out that Terry was pregnant. That is proof that he did not artificially inseminate her in any way, shape, or form. A third issue with the theory is arguably the most important from a storytelling perspective, so let's take a step back. Who was Terry's boyfriend? When did it conceive Jane? And what happened to her boyfriend? The prequel takes place from 1969 to 1970, so the story took place during the Vietnam War. Andrew was against the war. Thankfully, he was a college student, so he had student deferment. Andrew planned on enrolling in grad school in perpetuity until the war was done. Unfortunately, Andrew was a man of principle and he made several risky decisions. First, Andrew skipped out of school to go to Woodstock. When he got back, the university was angry. They didn't expel him, but they did put him on academic probation. A few days after Halloween, President Nixon addressed the nation on the war in Vietnam. Andrew's university made its students watch the address on a small TV in the cafeteria, but Andrew didn't show up, at least, not right away. Andrew and some of his buddies ran in during the speech and protested it wearing masks of Frankenstein, Superman, and Nixon. The police arrested him, Terry bailed him out, and they spent the night together at Andrew's apartment. That was one of the few times that they had been careless in terms of using protection. Meanwhile, Terry had been part of Dr. Brenner's experiments for over 3 months. While she was there, Terry had snuck off and found a little girl named Kali. Since Kali had a lot of potential, Brenner could not risk Terry messing that up. So Brenner came up with a plan to distract Terry from Kali by giving Terry a bigger problem to cope with. Dr. Brenner called one of his contacts in DC and asked him to do a favor in regards to a man named Andrew Rich. Andrew was kicked out of school for his protest. That meant that Andrew was now eligible for the draft. To make matters worse, the draft lottery was the next month, and Andrew's birthday was the very first date selected. So Andrew was drafted for Vietnam thanks to a monster known as Dr. Brenner. Terry tried to get Andrew to flee the country, to go to Canada, but Andrew wouldn't do it. Andrew told her that he had known the consequences of his protest and he wouldn't be a traitor to his country. So Andrew went to Vietnam and Terry continued to go to the MK Ultra experiments. When she found out that she was pregnant, she went to the doctor and found out that she was already in her 3rd trimester. The fetus growing inside her was already 7 months old. Terry realized that she and Andrew had conceived the baby back in November, the night that she had bailed Andrew out of jail for his protest. So Jane had been conceived on a very important night from a storytelling perspective. The 4th clue is for the nerdiest of us. Terry was one of 4 adults in the experiments: Terry, Alice, Gloria, and Ken. Brenner used electroshock therapy on Alice and she had visions. Eventually, they determined that she had been having visions of the future. Alice saw 11 in the future more than once, but she didn't have any visions of 11 for the first few months. Alice's visions of 11 began after November 3rd. One last clue that Terry and Andrew conceived 11 on that day. So, Andrew Rich is definitely 11's biological father. What happened to him? After Terry found out that she was pregnant, she called Andrew's parents so that she could schedule a time to speak to Andrew. Terry had planned on telling him that he was going to be a father. Unfortunately, Andrew's parents had something to tell Terry. Andrew was dead.